Name, Nathan Mullinik. My occupation is a principal of org development and analytics, and I work for BHP. So what that role means is I'm an individual contributor. I run my own projects and support other projects within the really broad culture and capability space within the business. So what I love about my job is, I guess, the variety of work, and there's a number of examples of that variety. One of them being our employee listening program of work, and part of that is our employee perception survey. So our team designed and runs that in-house, and being in-house, we run it as often as we want. So we run that survey every 4 to 5 months as a pulse. And when you're surveying, almost 50,000 permanent employees and up to however many other thousand contractors with any given part of the workforce, the insights that come from that are really powerful. And when you have that much data, you can really, gain insight into where there are productivity gains and where are there areas where, productivity is lacking. And same with safety outcomes. Where are people feeling safe and where are people feeling less safe? And the way that it's designed, that we've designed it, is really to inform action. There's a playbook for every item that doesn't score well that relates back to our operating model. And when we have such a great, I guess, what I'm trying to say is we have a finger on the pulse all the time, and with this action-oriented design, safety issues get fixed more quickly now that we have this listening program going. We understand where there are productivity gains, where engagement is lacking, and we understand what drives engagement from site to site, asset to asset, and in different countries. So different things influence our mines in Chile versus they do in Western Australia. So that's one really great thing about my role. But then there's other really complex problems that our team is asked to solve from our executive leadership team. So being a team that deals with culture and capability, the future of work and what capability we need is a massive problem we have to solve. And it's a massive opportunity because we have all of these new roles through automation and moving into newer, more environmentally sustainable commodities. We've got thousands of jobs that don't yet exist that we have to design for and solve for. So what our team gets to do is solve those problems for the business, these very complex problems that no one else wants to solve. And as a unique team full of different psychologists with different points of difference and different skills, we're really well positioned to solve that. So that's another exciting part of the job. But then there's also lots and lots more that's on the table for us at the moment. Yeah, so our CEO I'm not just drinking the BHP Kool-Aid, I think is really great leader. And our whole executive leadership team are great leaders, and they're very well picked and very intelligent people that really value culture. They understand that culture is an extremely important driver of productivity outcomes, safety outcomes, and it's also just a good thing to do, is have a good culture. And what makes up good culture is diversity of all sorts of thought, of demographics, of backgrounds, and it's as a team that supports culture and capability for those sort of problems or opportunities. We have a really, really great relationship from the executive leadership, but positions all the way down to our site supervisors who come to us with issues or opportunities around culture. So my qualification, so I did my Masters of Organisational Psychology at UQ, and I've had a number of two roles in BHP. For my first role, it was in a people analytics role, and my previous bosses, I'm still good mates with, they couldn't care less that I was a psychologist, right? They cared that I had an aptitude to learn data and analytics and a baseline skill set in that area, but also understood people as not just a practitioner in psychology, but someone who had gone through a number of years of training in university. But at the end of the day, they didn't care that I was a psychologist. That was just a bonus. For my current role, it certainly requires a deeper understanding of people behavior. So my master's qualifications certainly do add a little bit of value, but my role is certainly within this organizational development and analytics team. I'm the analytics part of that team, right? One of a couple of analytics skill sets. So I would still say that, I probably use about my skill set, or I guess, how do I better answer this? What's more important is my analytics capabilities than my psychology degree. The training, it gives me reputation within the business. It gives me a little bit more influence, but it doesn't help me in collating, millions and millions of rows of data from different areas and joining them up to paint a picture of what's happening within our workforce in any given scenario. It helps me interpret, being a psychologist, and the training you get from, your first year all the way to your fourth and onwards. That helps you interpret that information and communicate it. And I think that's one skill that everyone that's gone through a psychology program has, is the way to communicate something that's very complex, a complex people issue, in a really simple way. But certainly not a key component of my role is my master's. So with analytics, it's very much understanding, how you can use data. So how do you structure your data to run a regression analysis? And then how do you structure your data that has, 50,000 people month on month in different areas of the business that have, different roles? How do you structure then that data to do a regression, or do some machine learning, or just do a simple comparison, or a trend over time? So my role certainly doesn't require me to understand how databases work. My role requires me to understand how to get data from databases and structure it. And so it's not necessarily IT skills, but it certainly adds on to the capabilities that you would have developed from year one in stats onwards. I love my job. It's very fun. There's just in such a big business that, like, in mining companies, I didn't realize until I came into a mining company how data driven they are. So, and mining's going to be a part of Australia for forever, for long beyond when I'm dead. Mining is going to be an important part of Australia and the world, and they're going to be more and more data driven as every day goes by. So if anyone was wanting to get a piece of that pie or be within the mining industry, it's data, an aptitude to understand data and communicate to communicate any message through data is super important. It's so valuable. Yeah, it's good fun. I mean, culture makes every role good, right? So I've got a great leader. The team is so even though we're all, we have some sort of psychology background, we're still super multidisciplinary. Like, there's just such a variety of skills. Kind of feels like we're Power Rangers, right? We're all sort of similar, but we all have a very different skill set. It's very complementary. And if you dig working in a team, which I certainly do, it's a great environment. And it's a great learning environment too. I learn something new from someone every day, which is really cool as well.